What's going on, guys? John Green here, and welcome back to another video. Now, today I'm going to be talking about the 4 things that traditional Shopify gurus will never tell you. Now, the reason I want to make this video today is because I feel like there's a lot of dishonesty in the e-commerce world, and especially in the dropshipping industry. Now, a lot of these traditional Shopify gurus will show you these crazy screenshots of huge, ridiculous profits on their Shopify stores and tell you that all you have to do to replicate their success is listen to their advice. Lots of people say that dropshipping is a relatively risk-free business model. You don't have to invest very much money, and it's almost guaranteed success. And that creates a lot of toxicity in the dropshipping and e-commerce industry. So essentially, these Shopify gurus have found success in dropshipping themselves, and they take that success and they use it to prey on individuals who are new to the dropshipping game. And what happens here is that these individuals who found success in dropshipping, they become more successful in selling their courses and, selling their teaching tools to these newcomers to Shopify. But these newcomers, they don't actually get the advice they want. And these individuals, these gurus, don't really tell them what it actually takes to be successful in Shopify. So today I want to go over the 4 things that these individuals will never tell you and the 4 key aspects to being successful in dropshipping that you do need to know to own a successful dropshipping store. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into the first thing. So number 1 is that the profits that they show you on their screenshots are not all profit. It's gross earnings. Now, a lot of you are very smart individuals. Lots of people already understand that the Shopify screenshots that you see are not all profit at all, but I think it's really important to harp on that a little bit. Now, a lot of these Shopify gurus will show you crazy screenshots. Let's say you see a screenshot of somebody who sold $100,000 on their Shopify store. Now that's great because to sell $100,000 on your Shopify store, you do have to be able to create successful Facebook advertisements, and you do have to be able to drive traffic well and convert your customers. But when you see something like a $100,000 sales screenshot, you have to know that that is not profit by any means. Now, the traditional Shopify profit margin is something like 30% on the high end. If you're really good at creating successful advertisements and you have a high profit margin on your products, your profit margin will likely be something like 30%. So of that $100,000 screenshot you see, only $30,000 of that at maximum will be profit after Facebook ads and after paying for product costs and after purchasing all the Shopify apps you need to run a successful store. So that's $30,000 in gross profit, or net profit, I apologize. But after that, there's also taxes. Now, with my online store and my online business, I pay taxes of roughly 30 to 40%. And so when you see that $30,000 earnings, even if the $30,000 is profit of that $100,000 screenshot, know that those individuals also have to pay for taxes. You have to pay for business expenses. You have to pay for an accountant. And at the end of the day, of that $30,000 profit, maybe you'll get to keep 10 or 15 if you're very, very good at what you do and you're very ruthless with your profit margins. But of that $100,000, only $10,000 to $15,000 of that is pure profit. And that's not what they're going to tell you. They show you these big numbers, these huge, crazy numbers, and say, look at all the money that has gone through my store, but they don't tell you how much they actually make. So when you're listening to the advice from gurus, when you're seeing these crazy Shopify screenshots, take into account the fact that very little of the profit, or very little of the revenue that they show you in those Shopify screenshots will be actual profit at the end of the day. So when you're vetting your Shopify guru, when you're learning where to get your advice and you're figuring out who you want to listen to and whose method you want to implement, know that when they show you these screenshots, they're presenting them in a slightly dishonest way that sort of makes it appear as though the business model is more lucrative than it is. So go into these things with a critical eye and know that Shopify screenshots are not profit and very little of it is actual profit. All right, so that's about it for the first one. And the second thing that traditional Shopify gurus will never tell you is the fact that Facebook ads require a large learning curve. Now, a lot of these individuals, they give you their brief Facebook ads overview. They tell you how to create an advertisement in the Facebook Ads Manager, and a lot of times they say that that's enough. If you know how to create a Facebook ad in the Ads Manager, you're good to go, and you'll be able to start selling products immediately. But that's just not true at all. Facebook has an incredible learning curve, and you as an individual have to sit down and you have to learn how to make Facebook work for you. You can listen to the advice of Shopify gurus, and you can listen to other people's ad strategies that they use on Facebook, but at the end of the day, nobody can tell you how to make a profitable ad campaign. That's something you have to figure out for yourself, and that's what these individuals don't tell you, is that no matter how much advice you get, no matter how much learning you do from these gurus, you're still going to have to figure out a lot of this on your own. And that's just the nature of Facebook in and of itself. You have to learn how to make it work for you. You have to carve out your niche of the Facebook ads market, and you have to carve out your specific area where you know how to create profitable advertisements. And that's not something you can learn. That's not something somebody can tell you how to do. So when these individuals give you their Facebook ads tutorials, it's great to learn how to create Facebook advertisements, and it's great to be shown around the Facebook ads manager when you don't know how to use it. But just because you know how to create a Facebook ad doesn't mean you know how to create a profitable ad campaign, and those are very, very different things. Creating a Facebook ad is one thing. Creating an actual profitable Facebook ad campaign is a completely separate thing. And creating a Facebook ad campaign that's actually profitable is something you must learn on your own. And it's a very difficult learning curve because there's so many different tools, there's so many different audiences you can use, there's so many different targeting objectives, so many different placements. There's just a whole lot going on with the Facebook Ads Manager. So being able to create a basic Facebook advertisement is great, but understanding how to use the Facebook Ads Manager and how to target specific audiences, how to use specific placements to create actual profitable campaigns is a completely separate thing, and that's something you have to learn for yourself. So when going into Shopify and going into dropshipping, know that you are not going to be immediately successful. You're going to have to sit down and you're going to have to try very hard for a long time to learn how to use Facebook properly and how to use Facebook to your advantage. And that's what these individuals won't tell you. That's what these gurus will withhold, is the fact that no one can tell you how to make a Facebook ads campaign that's profitable. Only you can learn that for yourself. So know going into these things that it's great to get information from individuals about how they run their Facebook ads, how the Facebook Ads Manager works. But at the end of the day, the learning for how to create profitable Facebook ads campaign will come from you and only you. So if you don't have the drive and you don't have the desire to sit down and work and create unsuccessful advertisements for a long time until you finally find that success, dropshipping is most likely not going to be for you. All right, so let's get into the third thing here, and that is that it takes a ton of time and testing to find a winning product. So once you know how to use Facebook ads, and once you can actually successfully use Facebook to your advantage to try and create profitable campaigns, what you are not told by these gurus is that you are not guaranteed to find a winning product at any point. No one is ever going to guarantee you that if you test 5 products a day for a week, you'll find a winning product, because no one has any idea how long it's going to take you to find a winning product, because at the end of the day, it's sort of random. It's not really random because certain products do sell well to certain audiences, and like if you line up your audience and your product and you fill a need in your audience with your product, you're going to be a lot more likely to find a winning product. But nothing guarantees you finding a winning product. There is no advice that I can give you, that any other guru can give you, that will tell you what it takes to find a winning product and what is going to be successful and profitable for you. That's something you have to do on your own, and the only way to find winning products successfully is through tons and tons of testing. So that's the thing, is you can get all the advice, you can do all the learning you possibly can, but you're still not going to be successful unless you sit down and you try and you test on your own. You have to sit down and you have to work with Facebook on your own accord and test a ton of products. When I first started dropshipping, I tested upwards of 10 products a day, and it took me months and months and months to find an actual genuinely winning product that produced profitable campaigns every time I tried. And that's just the nature of the game. You have to keep testing and you have to keep trying until you can find that one product that really speaks to your audience and that individuals are actually willing to shell out their money to you for. And no amount of advice is going to change that takes time, and that takes diligence. It takes diligence on your part to sit down and not get discouraged by the fact that your first 15 products didn't work out. You have to sit down and test and test and test and test. And if you test enough, eventually you will find a product, but it's not guaranteed at any point. You just have to keep testing, and eventually the numbers will work in your favor. And once you've tested a ton of products, you're likely to find a winning product, but no one's ever going to guarantee you that you'll find a winning product. So all it takes is diligence, hard work, and lots of trial and error to find that winning product. That's the name of the game with dropshipping, is trial and error. You have to try things. You have to test your advertisements. You have to test different targeting, different creatives, different products, different audiences. You have to test all of it, and you have to test it yourself to find what works for you and what works for your audience. So you can't sit down, listen to what somebody else tested, and try and replicate their results, because that will not work out for you. You have to sit down and you have to test your products yourself and learn how to make Facebook work for you with your products on your own accord. And I can't stress that enough, how much of this is going to be on your own accord. Now, it's great to get advice, and it's great to get, to learn the fundamentals of what genuinely really does work with Facebook for most people, but even if it works for most people, it's not guaranteed to work for you, and you're going to have to figure out, you're going to have to adopt your own strategy and work it all out on your own. All right, and so the fourth and final thing that Shopify Gurus will not tell you is you must care for your customers. I cannot stress this enough. Your customers are your livelihood, and you have to treat them as well as you possibly can. So with Shopify dropshipping, it's not a very good business model for the customer at the end of the day. I'm going to say that. I'm a dropshipper. That's what I do. That's what I live. And that's what I teach. But it's not a very good business model for the customer at the end of the day. And that's because you're just a middleman. You are not the owner of the product. You are not the supplier of the product. You don't know all the information about the product. You're just selling it, and you're just advertising it, and you're just marking it up from the supplier that you get it from. So at the end of the day, it's not a very good business model for the customer because the shipping times are ridiculous, and because you being a middleman just elongates the process. It just makes it longer because instead of them ordering the product direct from AliExpress and dealing with the wait time for the supplier to process the order, they are now ordering it from you, and they have to deal with the waiting time for you to process the order, and then the waiting time for the supplier to process the order, and then the waiting for the shipment time for the product from overseas. So it's just a lot more waiting for the customer at the end of the day. And if you don't treat your customers super well, they're not going to buy from you because it's not going to be worth it for them. Why would they buy from your store where they have to wait 2 to 3 weeks for their product to arrive when there's Amazon that they can get in 2 days anywhere in the US? And the reason that they would buy from you is if you create a valuable customer experience with your store. If you are super on point in replying to your customer replies, you're very good with dealing with customer issues, giving reshipments if necessary, giving refunds when they're required, and just being genuinely a benevolent, caring business owner, you're going to actually be able to create a following for your store. Even though your shipping times will be long, and customers do not like those long shipping times. It really drives people away from purchasing from your store a second time, but you can overshadow the long shipping times and the long processing times with very good customer support. So if you want your Shopify store to be successful in the long run, you have to focus on customer support. You have to focus on making your customers feel appreciated, because if they feel appreciated by you, they may be willing to overlook the fact that your store does not offer the greatest shipping times, and it doesn't offer the greatest, immediate reward for purchasing. They have to wait, and people don't like to wait. So know that if you go into your store and you don't care for your customers, you are never going to be able to build a brand. People might buy from you once, but they'll never buy from you again if you don't give them a good customer experience. So take a lot of time in your customer service, take a lot of time when you're planning out how your customer service is going to work. One of the first things I recommend when you have a sizable store is hire a virtual assistant to reply to your customer inquiries so you can do it pretty much immediately all the time. You don't want to leave customers waiting for days and days on end for you to send them an email. You gotta make sure you're on point with your customer support and do it as quickly as possible, because individuals will get very frustrated very quickly, and they can start a ton of negative publicity, and you have no idea how much negative publicity can hurt your store until it happens to you. So don't let that happen to you, and just treat your customers well enough that they don't want to harm your store. They want to tell your store to their friends because you're such a great, benevolent, caring business owner. So take a lot of time and make your customers feel appreciated. If somebody buys from your store multiple times, send them a discount code, send them a personalized thank you. Do something out of the ordinary to make your store stand out and to make your customers feel as though you appreciate them, because if they don't feel appreciated, they are never going to spend money on your store more than once. All right. So I believe that's about it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys would like to see a little bit more of what I'm doing, be sure to go ahead and go in the description and join my private Facebook group. Subscribe for more content like this. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time.